Discover 10 spine-chilling true Alaskan horror tales, sinister secrets and cursed legends exposed. As the first flakes of snow began to fall, Mia felt a shiver crawl up her spine. Wrangell was notorious for its relentless winters, but tonight, it felt different, almost alive with whispers of the past. Her family had gathered in their cozy living room, a flickering fire casting long shadows that danced menacingly on the walls. It should have been a typical night, but the wind howled like a banshee outside, stirring something deep within her, a bone-chilling fear that tiptoed on the edge of her imagination. That evening, while sorting through the attic's clutter, she discovered an old leather-bound journal, its pages worn and brittle. Dust billowed into the air as she opened it. The scrawled ink felt alive, recounting tales of those who had wandered into the woods and never returned. Stories of malevolent spirits that feasted on fear and despair. Mia's heart raced. This was more than folklore her parents dismissed. This was a warning. The legends felt real, filling her with a tangible dread. As snow piled high outside, casting an eerie silence over Wrangell, she shared her findings with her younger brother, Sam, whose eyes widened in fear. "Mia, what if those stories are true?" he whispered, glancing anxiously towards the window. Shadows flitted just beyond the glass, sending a chill through Mia. They should have been safe in their warmth, yet each chilling account turned their sanctuary into a haunted prison. The lights began to flicker, plunging the room into ominous darkness, only to be pierced again by the sickly glow of the fire, like the pulsing heartbeat of something lurking just outside. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Mia looked into Sam's fearful eyes as he claimed to see something shifting among the trees, a figure hunched and watching, eyes glowing like ice. Their parents, Lisa and Mark, who usually dismissed such tales as childish fantasies, could no longer ignore the palpable tension thickening the air. Unsettled narratives in town buzzed like bees, neighbors whispering about those who'd gone missing. A shroud of panic blanketed Wrangell, and the forest seemed to breathe in, holding its secrets tighter. Determined to seek answers, Mia felt an unsettling attraction towards Old Man Jennings, the town elder. He had a wary look, almost as though he carried the weight of the woods on his shoulders. She approached him, eager for a solution. What she saw in his eyes was far from reassuring. A storm of unspoken terrors hinted at dark rituals and ancient curses. They had to confront those spiraling legends that were not mere figments of imagination but desperate truths. As the solstice drew nearer, the air became suffocating with dread. Mia realized that those stories were twisted into reality, and every missed neighbor was a sacrifice to something lurking. The snow seemed to drink in the light, burying the town and its people into darkness as if the forest itself was hungrily watching. The chilling shriek from afar echoed against the walls of their home, a harbinger of the peril they faced. Clutching Sam's trembling hand in hers, Mia knew they had awakened something that knew their deepest fears. In the collapsing darkness, their shared breaths filled with tension. They were caught, suspended between fear and the unsettling truth. The thin veil of safety shattered as the looming shadows closed in. The darkness thickened around them, a heavy blanket that obscured the world beyond their flickering fire. Mia could feel the chilling grip of terror squeezing her chest. The howling wind outside morphed into articulate cacophony, now voices intertwining in an alien language that clawed at her sanity. "Did you hear that?" Sam's voice quivered, sharpening as his grip tightened on her hand. The dreadful sound came again, a blood-curdling scream buried somewhere deep in the oppressive night. It was a sound that echoed through the very marrow of her bones, making her heart thunder in response. Mia's mind raced, flashes of the journal's harrowing stories of those unearthly spirits scraped through her thoughts. What if they had disturbed something that was best left alone? She shot a glance toward the window, every instinct screaming at her to keep her eyes focused there, fearing what she might see yet knowing she couldn't look away. Then a low growl vibrated through the air, low and menacing. The shadows outside morphed and twisted, and Mia's breath hitched. The creatures from the stories could no longer be confined to the pages of her discovery. They lurked just beyond her sanctuary, cloaked in the veil of winter. "Mom! Dad!" Sam shouted, his voice cracking. The urgent tone pulled Lisa and Mark from the kitchen, their faces taut with confusion. "There's something out there," Sam gushed, his wide eyes reflecting the flames. Lisa pushed back the hair from her forehead. "What are you talking about?" "It's just the wind." But the tremor in her voice betrayed her disbelief. Mark moved closer, peering out into the abyss, only to be met with darkness that seemed to shift, absorbing the firelight where it dared to reach. "Stay inside," he ordered, his voice steady but laced with fear. It did little to ease Mia's anxiety. She could feel the air thickening, the house's protective walls failing to shield them from what prowled outside. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted from the back of the house, reverberating through the quiet. Mia's heartbeat quickened. What was out there? A desperate intelligence clawed its way through her racing thoughts. Could it be the entity from the stories, the malevolent force that fed on their fears? "Maybe we should go up to the attic," Mia suggested, her voice trembling. "We can see if we can find something in the journal." The thought felt selfish and reckless, but the need for answers was overwhelming. Mark exchanged a worried glance with Lisa before nodding grimly. "Let us go, but stay close." The family slowly climbed the stairs, each creak sounding like a warning to their mounting dread. As they reached the attic door, a wave of chill engulfed Mia like an icy breath, creeping over her skin. The journal sat on the dusty floor like a beacon of truth among the cobwebs. She picked it up, the pages fluttering in a breeze that shouldn't exist. Desperate to recall what she had read, she flipped through the pages. A strange sense of urgency gripped her as she searched for the answer that might save them. The words seemed to blur under her frantic gaze until she stopped suddenly, her finger tracing a chilling passage about a sacrificial offering to satisfy restless spirits. The air in the attic thickened, almost suffocating her. The shadows around her began to pulse rhythmically, alive with anticipation. "What if it's not just stories?" Sam whispered, his voice barely above a breath. Mia's heart raced. They had to figure this out before it was too late. Rippling sounds stirred outside. The growls were closing in, resonating off the walls, as if the very forest had awakened to consume them whole. Suddenly, a whisper barely audible at first seeped in through the cracks, chilling every ounce of warmth in the room. "You invited us." As the words lingered, Mia froze, realizing with dread what she had unknowingly unleashed upon them. What would they have to sacrifice to survive? The attic felt like a heartless cavern, cold and unyielding. Mia's fingers still tingled from the contact with the journal. Sam was right beside her, his eyes wide in silent terror. Mark and Lisa stood at the threshold, almost shielded by the doorframe, caught between the fear of the unknown and the instinct to protect their children. "Maybe," Lisa started, her voice shaky as she moved closer, "maybe we can just wait it out. We should try to lock the door." "Shoo!" Mia hissed. A faint scratching noise outside interrupted their thoughts, a deliberate sound that felt all wrong. It echoed like fingernails on glass, a reminder that the darkness was alive and watching, patiently waiting for an invitation to enter. "What if it's a bear?" Sam suggested, though the tremor in his voice betrayed his uncertain hope. The scratching grew faint but persistent, and Lisa gulped with impatience. "I don't think it's a bear," Mia breathed. The words left a bitter taste in her mouth, as if the very air around them was imbued with dread. She flipped through the journal pages again, her eyes darting over the inked text. The details around the sacrificial offerings bore down on her conscience, a nightmarish implication lying in wait. "Look!" Mark pointed into the dim space of the attic. A piece of wood at the far end was creaking, slowly bending as if something were pressing against it from the outside. Every instinct screamed at Mia to scream, to run, but she held still. The creeping sensation of being watched tightened around her neck. A shadow passed outside the window, stark and contorted as if it were mocking the light they provided. "Do you think it can hear us?" Sam whispered, his voice barely a whisper now. Panic etched across his pale face as he inched closer to Mia. "Yeah, and it's hungry." The words barely left her lips before the scratching intensified. Now it was on the door. A low, deliberate scrape that sent shivers down Mia's spine. Suddenly, the shadows elongated, morphing into figures that seemed to smirk at their feeble attempt to keep the terror at bay. "Get back!" Mark's voice surged with authority, forcing them all to back up into the far wall of the attic. The door rattled violently, as if something was pressing its weight against it, eager to breach the sanctuary they had found. "Please just let us go." Lisa's pleas broke through the tension, her voice rising above the cacophony. Unfathomable rage erupted from beyond the door as if the entity had taken personal offense to their words. Mia flipped through the pages once more through frenzied tears. Surely there had to be something here, something that could help them fend off the gathering doom. The scratches grew louder, morphing into what sounded like claws carving through flesh, clawing at their resolve. "Read faster," Mark urged, but the words swam before Mia's eyes, taunting her with indecipherable meanings. They were running out of time, the voices outside converging into a dissonant chant, a sinister melody twisted from a deep abyss. "And if we can't find anything in time?" Sam's voice quivered, fear clawing at him now. "We'll have to make a choice." Her words fell flat, the truth hanging in the air like a suspended guillotine. Suddenly, a deafening silence fell, strangled and oppressive, as the sounds of their pursuers ceased abruptly. The quiet felt like a warning, like the silence before an explosion. Just then, the door buckled under a violent force, splintering without ceremony. "We need to hide," Lisa gasped, looking frantically around the attic. But there was nowhere to go, no escape from the tendrils of forested darkness threatening to reach them. The entity seeped in, its shape ever-changing, indistinguishable from the shadows. And as it loomed over them, a guttural laugh escaped its lips, echoing the deep-rooted fears nestled in their hearts. "What will you offer?" it whispered, a hungry glint in its monstrous eyes answering the question that had loomed in the pit of Mia's stomach. Time was running out. Would they be forced to surrender their very souls, or was there a glimmer of hope left to seize? In the suffocating dark, their salvation hung precariously in balance, teetering on the brink of a horrifying truth waiting to be unmasked. Mia's breath hitched in her throat as the shadow enveloped them, the chilling presence merging with the darkness of the attic. Its form twisted and swayed, growing, looming closer. The air thickened, suffocating them with a vile miasma that seeped into their skin, tainting everything it touched. "What will you offer?" The question snaked through her mind, teasing at the corners of sanity. It wasn't just a rhetorical inquiry, it felt like a sinister challenge, an invitation to a game they had not signed up for. "Nothing. We won't give you anything," Mark shouted, his voice strong, but it trembled at the edges. Mia's heart raced. Anger, she thought, at least it felt like resistance. "Mark, stop." Lisa's eyes were wide, panic driving her pulse. "Don't provoke it. We need to find a way out." The shadows writhed in response, mocking their attempt to hold on to hope. Tendrils snaked toward them, seeping into the gaps between the wooden beams, groping for their flesh. Instinctively, Mia stepped back, feeling Sam's grip tighten on her arm. "Please," Mia's voice quavered. "Just let us go. We don't want any trouble." A guttural laugh erupted, reverberating through the attic. It pulsated, making the very walls tremble. "Trouble? You're already in it, little girl." Each word dripped with malice, a perverse delight in their growing despair. The journal felt heavy in Mia's hands. Desperate, she flipped through its pages again, the inked words nothing but shadows in her mind, swirling like the creature before her. Her eyes landed on a faded ink drawing, an offering, a boy, head bowed, hand raised. "We can reverse it," Mia whispered, realization dawning. "What?" Sam's voice was small, barely above a whisper. Mia's mind raced, memories flaring. The old legends her grandmother had told. The rituals to either appease or defeat the entity. They say if you give something dear, a sacrifice of sorts, you can escape its clutches. But what do we have to give? I can't. Sam whimpered, glancing around as if the ghosts of their actions would come to collect. Mia couldn't wrestle with the implications. It's got to be something we're willing to lose suddenly. The thing loomed closer, its voice a low hiss, choose wisely or lose everything. Sharp claws materialized from the depths of the shadow, scratching at the wood near Mia's feet. Mark stepped forward, eyes fierce. What about the journal? It brought this on us. No. We need it. Mia screamed, clutching the pages tighter. The weight of the journal felt heavier, almost oppressive. It has the knowledge to fight it off. But the creature laughed again, slinking through the air with a sickening ease. Knowledge is just fear made manifest. What are you truly willing to lose? Mia felt her insides twist. Her thoughts darted family, friends, her life as she knew it. But the truth weighed down her heart. If she had to choose a sacrifice, Sam. Lisa cried out, her voice slipping into hysteria. Don't even think it. But before Mia's mind could process the horror, the shadows twisted into a luminous image of the children, a glimpse of their innocence hanging precariously in balance. Stop! Mia shouted, shaking. No! We can't do that. I'll do it. Sam blurted. His eyes wild, glistening with tears. I'll do whatever it takes. No. Don't. Mia's heart sank. Was that truly the only way? She grappled with the looming despair that wrapped around her mind like chains. The shadowy entity leaned in closer, its breath icy against their skin. A soul forfeited, the price must be paid. Which one will it be? As each voice trailed off into the haunting chill, the choice hung thick in the air, suffocating all feasible routes of escape. Mia's resolve shattered in that harrowing moment. Look for another way, please. She croaked. But perhaps that choice had already been made. Could they find an escape without surrendering any part of themselves? Was there a way to defy the darkness staring back at them? As the grip of the creature tightened, all hope seemed to slip further away. What would they sacrifice to save one another when the shadows demanded a price they might not be willing to pay? Mia's heart thundered in her chest as she scanned the room, searching for anything they could use against the entity. The air crackled with the creature's energy, making her skin prickle. Time hung suspended, every breath bordering on desperation, every heartbeat echoing dread. Mark took a step back, his bravado fading. What if we offered something else? Something small? Like what, Mark? Lisa's voice trembled, fear evident in the way she wrung her hands. It might not be enough. The shadows danced, their malicious laughter spiraling around them. Small sacrifices are for small souls, the entity taunted, its voice a sinister whisper curling through their minds, wrapping them in a cocoon of despair. We can't just stand here. Sam yelled, looking around wildly. There has to be something. With a sudden surge of courage, Mia shouted, what if we use the journal? It holds our thoughts, our fears. We can burn it. That's something. The revelation hung in the air for a moment, as an ethereal silence enveloped them. But the creature flared like a dark flame. Burning it will only strengthen my grip. Mia's resolve flickered, the shadows creeping closer, their claws probing for weakness. But we're running out of time. She hissed, gripping the journal like a lifeline. We can't just stand around waiting for it to decide. Look, what do you want from us? Mark's voice faltered, desperation spilling through. What will it take? The entity chuckled, its presence shifting, swirling like a dark storm. What you have means nothing to me. So many fears, so many secrets, but your heart speak louder. Heed my riddle, what grows without roots, and consumes those who hold it? Mia felt a chill creep down her spine, memories clawing for her attention. What, she whispered, realization flickering. What if it's those things we treasure most? What we hold tightly, but can't keep? The creature twirled, its form blurring and becoming even darker. Yes. But at what cost? Choose wisely or lose your souls. Lisa whimpered, her nails digging into her palms. You're saying we have to sacrifice what we love the most? That's insane. Insanity is merely the absence of choice, the being replied, its tone dripping with mockery. Decide before I take everything. Terror clawed at Mia's chest, her mind spinning. We need to think. What do we have that we can let go of? It can't just be one of us. Mark turned to her, fear etched on his face. What about your memories, Mia? Those hold a lot of weight. No. I can't, she gasped, the idea sending ice through her veins. To lose her memories was like losing herself. What if we give the journal? Sam urged, desperation coloring his tone. It might be enough. Mia shook her head violently. No. We don't understand what it means to the creature. It has to be something we. But before she could finish, the shadows surged forward, wrapping around their legs with ethereal tendrils, pulling them closer to the dark heart of the entity. Mia's throat tightened. This isn't right. We can't let it win. Suddenly, with a violent flicker, the journal emitted a light, pushing back against the shadows. You must decide now, before I choose for you. The creature's voice thundered, drowning out their thoughts, its claws scratching furiously along their legs as they fought against the tide of darkness. Sam! Lisa cried, her voice raw. Get the journal. We can't leave it. Do it. Sam shouted, struggling against the creeping shadows. The pressure was unbearable. Mia's thoughts raced in twisted loops. Could they really afford to lose anything? The shadows thickened, coiling tighter than ever. Time is slipping. Make your sacrifice. Breathless, Mia felt the grasp of despair closing in around her. What's the price? As darkness loomed, the corner of her mind screamed a way out, but clarity escaped her. Was this the moment they would lose everything? Would sacrifice save them, or destroy them each in turn? Would they even live to tell the story, or would they become part of the darkness? The question hung heavy in the air as silence enveloped them once more, waiting for the final decision. The shadows writhed around them like a living entity, tightening their grip with icy fingers. Every breath Mia took felt like a crime against the suffocating darkness closing in. The energy emanating from the entity vibrated with a palpable pulse, its hunger echoing in the void. Mia! Lisa's voice quaked, nearly drowned by the swirling whispers of the creature. What do we do? Panic clawed at Mia's throat. We need to make a choice, she managed to choke out. Her thoughts spiraled with visions of each friend, their lives, their memories. But what could she sacrifice? The thought twisted like a knife, each option more horrifying than the last. The entity chuckled, its laughter echoing maliciously. You dance on the edge of oblivion. Choose or witness the unraveling of your bonds. What binds you will unbind, if you falter. Stop it. Mark yelled, trying to pull against the menacing shadows. We'll find a way. Your courage amuses me, the entity hissed. But fear not, I shall show you what true sacrifice means. With a sudden burst of energy, one of the shadows lunged, coiling around Mark's wrist, pulling him towards the entity. His eyes widened, flaring fear bleeding into despair. No. I want to go. Mark. Lisa cried out, reaching for him, but the tendrils were too strong. They pulled him closer, inch by inch. Mia's heart raced. This wasn't just a game anymore. Mark. Fight it. But her words felt hollow against the roar of malevolence swirling before them. Do you wish to lose him? The entity taunted, its dark form shifting violently. Let him remain, or send him away forever. Let him go. Mia shouted but knew the futility in her heart. She was standing at the edge of a precipice. Choose, the creature demanded, the shadows around them tightening viciously. Your love, or your cowardice? What if we offered you? Sam stammered, desperation lacing his voice. But the creature interrupted. Bravery has its price. You all speak of love. But how deep does it run if you're unwilling to bleed for it? Mia felt her chest constrict. She couldn't abandon Mark. But the shadows were closing in, each heartbeat drumming out a relentless reminder of their impending doom. The journal pulsed, sending waves of light that momentarily repelled the darkness, but for how long? I won't leave you. Mark shouted, panic breeding dread. Don't do this for me. Mark, Mia whispered, tears pricking at her eyes. How can we save you? What if we give up our secrets? Our deepest ones? Lisa's voice trembled, igniting a flicker of hope. Would that be enough? You misunderstand, the entity mocked, the darkness swelling at the suggestion. Your secrets are merely whispers. I want your hearts. This is a matter of love. Mia's breath turned shallow as realization sank in. She realized what the creature was asking, not just their fears or memories, but the very threads of their emotional cores. The things that made them human. Please, no, Sam pleaded, the weight of the thought heavy in the air. We can't do that. We'll wither away. Then it is your choice. Surrender and lose what you are, or lose your friend, the entity hissed, shadows thrumming. Choose. The air felt stifling. Tension thickened like fog, wrapping around them, choking out every thought. What would they become if they sacrificed such parts of themselves? Would they even survive? As Mark's face twisted in abject fear, and Mia's heart shattered, the entity cackled, its shadows swirling in a final, frightening dance. Time's ravine is nearing its end. What will you choose? The ultimatum hung on the night air, thick and oppressive. Would Mia and her friends succumb to the darkness? Or would their desperate choices tear them apart before they could unite against the evil? The end drew closer, and with it, a new horror awaited them. The shadows pulsed, a living being, capricious and hungry. Mia could feel her heart hammering against her ribs, every beat a countdown to oblivion. Mark's desperate face painted despair all over the room, and the cries of her friends faded into a deafening silence. The entity's cold laughter bounced off the walls, mocking their fear, wrapping around them like a shroud. Choose. It hissed again, each utterance sharper than a blade. Mia gripped the journal in her hands, the only flicker of hope left. She raised it, feeling the warmth bleed into her cold palms. This can help us fight. We just need to believe. But belief felt frail against the darkness. The shadows surged, consuming the dim light. Mia could hardly see Lisa's eyes, only the reflection of terror as she realized the gravity of their predicament. Mark. We can't let it take you. Just hold on. Lisa shouted, reaching for him, arms outstretched against the encroaching darkness. But the entity was relentless. The bonds of friendship so strong yet so fragile, it cooed, its forms swirling like smoke, morphing into grotesque shapes of their insecurities. Mia saw visions, her past failures, Mark's haunted memories, Lisa's hidden fears. Each shadow resembled the worst parts of themselves. Stop. This isn't real. Mia cried, but it was too late. Each confession, each secret began to rise from the deep wells of their hearts, aching to escape. Your truths will be your undoing, the entity whispered, edging closer to Mark, who struggled in vain against the iron grip of shadows. No. Don't give it anything. Sam shouted, his voice cracking. I can't lose him, Mia muttered, tears streaming down her cheeks. They all knew what the creature wanted. It craved their essence, the very spirit that defined them. I would give anything, Mark pleaded, his eyes wide and reflecting terror. Anything but this. Then we need to decide. Lisa interrupted, her voice strained. We can't let it win. We have to sacrifice something that binds us together. I'd rather lose myself than lose you all. Mia wailed, the words spilling into the darkness, but her resolve made the shadows quiver. Very well, the entity hissed, its voice now a seductive whisper. Embrace the darkness, or watch your bonds divide. This is the price of love. Mia gasped, understanding striking with the force of lightning. We could give up our trust? She suggested, her voice trembling. It's better than losing Mark. Are you willing to risk your connections? To sever ties? The entity's eyes gleamed with gluttonous anticipation. We're already losing him, we can't let it take us too. Lisa cried, voice rising in urgency. As each heartbeat echoed louder, Mia felt her pulse align with the entity's sinister rhythm. It was feeding off their dread, savoring every moment of despair. Mark, she hesitated, fear gripping her throat. We could sacrifice trust. It's what it wants, right? Sacrificing trust is relinquishing love. He shouted, pain twisting his features. You'd tear us apart. We have no choice. Sam yelled. If we're going to save you, we have to. Panic surged through Mia. What weight would their choice hold? Her breath caught. We can't lose ourselves, she murmured. We can't. Choose. The entity thundered, shadows swirling into a maelstrom of chaos and fury. Mia felt as if the world were crashing down, decisions splintering like glass. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she weighed the implications of their choice. Each second stretched into infinity. Now! It shrieked, the shadows lunging once more. Mia's heart threatened to explode from her chest. With tears blurring her vision, she grasped Mark's hand, willing him to fight with her. I want to lose you, I can't. But something shifted. The shadows pulsed faster, an orchestra of chaos conducting their final moments. As Mia's resolve hung by a thread, the entity's laughter echoed, a chilling symphony of dread that promised pain and betrayal. Would they fracture under the weight of their darkest fears? Could love truly withstand this chilling test, or were they destined to lose everything? The question loomed ominously in the air, a lingering specter in the oppressive silence. What would they sacrifice when the shadow of torment loomed closer? Chaos erupted as the shadows clawed at Mia, each tendril a whisper of her darkest fears. She felt the air thicken, and it smothered her like a heavy blanket. We have to do this together. She squeezed Mark's hand, the warmth contrasted sharply against the cold grip of the entity. Together, Lisa echoed, her voice trembled, caught between hope and despair. Sam breathed hard, his eyes darting around, searching for an escape that wasn't there. The shadows loomed, both imploring and scornful. Embrace the sacrifice, said the entity, a soft caress that twisted their thoughts like a cruel tune. Give me your trust, and I will save him. Mia didn't want to relinquish anything. Trust felt like the last thread holding them together. It's not worth it. She screamed, fighting the pull of the darkness. Trust is a weakness, Mark blurted, his voice ragged. Maybe it's the only way. His eyes glazed over, lost in a sea of indecision. Don't say that. Lisa pleaded, her voice rising in urgency. We can't let it manipulate us. This is a trick. Panic flared in Mia's chest, a flash of fear igniting her heart. Which will you choose? The entity taunted, shadows swirling around them, as if anticipating their every thought. Mark, please. Fight it. Mia cried. She could feel herself being pulled into the darkness, her thoughts muddied by doubt and fear. And if he dies anyway? Sam's voice wavered, tension stretching the air tighter. What difference does it make? We lose him or we lose everything. The word struck like a cold wind, chilling Mia's core. Everything they held dear felt at risk. "We're strong," she whispered defiantly. "If we stand together." But the shadows sank deeper, their cold tendrils slithering through Mia's mind, rattling her confidence. The laughter of the entity surged, vibrating through the room. "Stand together? What a farce! Each one of you harbors secrets and fears. You can't escape your own hearts." Images flashed like lightning, moments of betrayal, whispered lies, dark shames. Mia felt sick. Shadows pinched her thoughts, dragging her down into despair. "Stop!" Mark shouted, but his voice trembled. I don't know." "You cannot step back from truth," the entity hissed, drawing nearer. "Your very nature defines you." Fingers gripping the journal, Mia felt compelled even as dread knotted in her stomach. "Mark. Trust me. This is our only way out." For a heartbeat, the world held its breath. The air crackled with tension as Mark's eyes found hers. "You're asking me to choose between trust and you. That's impossible. We don't have time for impossibilities," Sam yelled. Shadows twisted, a mass of hunger, waiting. "What if we don't trust each other anymore? What then?" Lisa quaked, reflecting the truth they all feared. "Then we're all lost," Mia responded softly, feeling the shadows close in. "But losing trust might be our only hope." "Do it!" Mark shouted suddenly, desperation fueling his voice. "If it means saving you all, then it's worth it." "No." Mia's heart sank. "I want to let you do it. Not like this." As the shadows writhed and pressed closer, their whispers filled the air like echoes of doom, drowning out Mia's protests. Each heartbeat rang like a warning bell. "Choose." The entity hissed, the laughter turning into a thunderous roar. They had to decide. What were they willing to forsake? Would trust break them apart or save them? The bond of friendship, shattered or transformed? The shadows closed in, an inescapable haze. Mia's mind raced, drowning in turmoil. Would they be able to reclaim their connections once the shadow consumed them, or had the entity already fed off their doubt too deeply? A chilling wind blew through the room, lifting her hair like fingers of the night, as a profound darkness lurked just beyond their choices. As the shadows surged, ready to engulf them, Mia whispered a silent prayer that they could survive whatever came next. But with each heartbeat, the dreadful question lingered, would they ever truly know what it meant to trust again? The shadows tightened around them, a living mass of darkness, vibrating with a twisted hunger. Mia felt her heart race, panic clawing its way up her throat. "Mark, don't let it take you. Fight it." Her voice cracked, laden with desperation. But as she looked at him, she saw the struggle in his eyes, the flicker of something lost, something dark approaching. "Trust me," he murmured, but the sincerity drained from his face as the entity's whispers seeped into his mind. Mia could see it happening, like the slow consumption of everything he was. "We'll never escape. It knows our fears." Sam shouted, panic flooding his breath. He turned, trying to gauge their surroundings, but thick blackness surrounded them like a fog. That chilling void swallowed the room, suffocating as it absorbed all hints of light. "Don't let it sow doubt," Lisa cried out, edging closer to Mark. "We have to stay united." Yet her voice faltered as shadows crept toward her, curling around her ankles, pulling her into their sea of despair. "The noise, it's getting louder." Sam flailed, clutching at his ears. "I can't think. It's too much." Laughter erupted from the entity, a raucous sound that reverberated against the walls. "He knows so much, has so much to lose," it hissed, turning its malevolent gaze toward Mark. "Your willingness to give it up is admirable, but is it bold enough?" With a sudden surge of determination, Mia stepped forward. "It's a lie. You're trying to break us apart. Fight together or we'll become victims of our own fears." She raised the journal, the only weapon they had against the darkness, but was it strong enough? Please, please listen to her." Lisa urged, tears pooling in her eyes. We can't let it win. We stood together at the start, we can't turn on each other now. Mark hesitated. The shadows danced in his pupils, casting doubt into his mind. What if it's already too late? What if I'm the one leading us to our demise? His voice cracked like fragile glass, untethered and trembling. Then we'll face it together. Always together. Mia's voice cut through the din, an anchor amid the tempest. A ripple surged through the darkness, but a newfound radiance shone within Mia's heart, granting her daring courage. You have to trust me. I trust all of you. In that moment, a low growl resonated through the shadows. Trust is a gift you cannot afford, it hissed, growing fiercer, its eyes a glimmering void. As if responding to the entity's taunts, a terrifying screech sliced through the air. Shadows writhed and twisted, reaching toward Mia and her friends like starving beasts. They surged forward, and the atmosphere thickened, stinging Mia's lungs. Hang on! Sam yelled, gripping Lisa's arm. Whatever it is, we can't let it break us. Together, they drew closer. Their hands intertwined, fighting against the pull of the shadows. Mia felt the warmth of contact, a flicker of hope igniting within her. This is our stronghold. Together, we'll find the light, she shouted. Do you think together we'll save you? The entity laughed, echoing off the suffocating walls. You know nothing of your true selves. With a rush, the shadows lunged forward, and in an instant, the warmth between them flickered, leaving them adrift in cold uncertainty. The crushing fear threatened to swallow them whole, but Mia remembered, together they were strong. As the darkness rushed toward them, she closed her eyes, focusing on the bond they shared. We can't let it take our trust. We can't lose who we are. The shadows recoiled, startled by her conviction that a chilling wind swept through the room, and dread washed over them like icy water. Would their combined bravery be enough to fend off the plunging void? In that moment of fragile hope, the entity tightened its grip, whispering more insidious truths. Every secret you hold, I know them all. Mia's stomach twisted in terror. What secrets were its shadows revealing? What truths could unravel them? As they braced against the impending darkness, a surge of doubt echoed in Mia's heart. How much longer could they endure before breaking? A sharp crack echoed from the shadows, and Mia's breath hitched. The darkness was changing, morphing into something even more sinister. What have you done? It rasped through gritted teeth, the shadows clawing for dominance. Mia's eyes widened. What is it planning? But the truth was obscured in the shadows, and the chaos filled every corner of her mind. The silence before the storm crept in, holding their fate in the balance. If trust was to be their salvation, how much would they risk? As the shadows surged once more, whispering their dreadful promises, Mia's heart raced. Would they find the light, or would they be consumed by the darkness that yearned for their very souls? Mia felt the shadows press in around them, the air thick with the clamoring of their fears. The creature's presence felt like icy fingers tightening around her throat. What do you want from us? She shouted, her voice trembling but defiant. Your darkest fears, the entity hissed, each word curling into her mind. Your deepest trust or your friend? No. Her heart pounded. Not Mark. He's more than just a friend, he's my family. The family you're ready to lose? It taunted, shadows swirling around them like predatory fangs. Mia's mind raced. What would she sacrifice to save him? The very essence of their connections weighed on her chest like a heavy stone. She looked at Mark, his expression a mixture of terror and bravery. It sparked something deep within her. We won't lose ourselves. Mia took a deep breath, eyes sweeping over her family, Sam and Lisa standing beside her, their skin prickling with worry. This isn't us. It's the shadows feeding into our fear. We have to stay together. Do you really believe that? The entity scoffed. You think trust is unbreakable? I've seen friendships torn to shreds over less. Mia squeezed Mark's hand tighter. We're stronger than that. We're not defined by our fears, we're defined by how we face them. A flicker of hope reignited within the room, barely visible through the oppressive dark. The shadows recoiled slightly, hesitating, as if momentarily puzzled by her conviction. You think your hope will save you? Yes. Sam yelled, his small voice rising. Not just hope. Love. We love each other, and that's real. The entity sneered, shadows swirling excitedly. Prove it then. Sacrifice your trust and I will let him go. Quiet enveloped them, the weight of the choice threatening to crush them under its pressure. No. Lisa cried, feeling the desperation rise like bile in her throat. We can't. We'd lose everything we are. We need to make a decision. Mark's voice was steady now, fiercer than before. If we lose trust, we'll no longer be family. But if we hold on to it, maybe it will drive this creature away. A moment of silence fell. Time felt suspended as Mia watched the shadows bubble with anticipation, their hunger palpable. She knew the potency of their bond, the truth resonating so deeply that it nudged at the edges of despair. I can't watch you suffer. Mark cried, anguish splintering his voice. Then let us not lose trust. Mia shouted fiercely, her heart racing with the rush of purpose. Love builds trust. We'll fight for it together. I believe in every single one of you. With that, she pressed forward, gripping the journal like a lifeline against the rising tide of darkness. Stand with me. She yelled, a fresh wave of energy giving her strength. Together. Sam echoed, adrenaline coursing through him. Together. Lisa and Mark joined in unison, grabbing hold of the journal too, eyes brightening with shared determination. For the first time, light burst forth from the journal, illuminating the attic with a warm golden glow that pushed against the shadows. Mia felt the light trickle through her veins, fueling her spirit. You won. Take what's mine. She screamed, channeling every ounce of love and memories into the words. We choose each other, always. The entity howled, rage twisting its form, rippling through the shadows like a furious tide. This can't be. You were supposed to be weak. Mia stood firm, anchored by the love coursing through her family. Weakness is only a reflection of fear. Your hold over us is broken. With a collective surge, they aimed the journal at the darkness, releasing a flood of radiant light that enveloped them entirely, each heartbeat sinking together in defiance. The shadows screamed, recoiling violently as light split them apart, rending the fabric of darkness itself. In that final push, everything merged, their fears, hopes, laughter, and tears blurring into a magnificent explosion of brilliance. We are together. Mia bellowed, the light blooming like a flower forcing itself through the cracks in winter soil. The shrieks of the shadows faded, a dissonant echo retreating into the abyss as the entity unraveled, dissipating into the very air that had once felt so heavy. Mia opened her eyes, heart still racing. The attic was silent. No shadows remained. Just warmth radiating from the journal as if it pulsed with life. Mark turned, eyes shimmering with relief. We made it. We did. Lisa chimed in, laughter bubbling as they huddled close, hardly believing they had won. Sam began to dance, spinning around the room, laughter pouring out as jubilant relief washed over them. Mia couldn't help but join him, weaving through the hall into the welcoming light of the night. Let us never let fear come between us again, she declared, pulling them all into the embrace she knew would seal their bonds, irrevocably strong. As they stood together, the whispers of the woods faded into serene quiet, their past less haunting in the glow of the present. Mia took a deep breath, the crisp air laced with promise, and knew that while shadows may rise again, love would always light their way. Now, as they laughed and shared this moment, she thought of all they had faced, how daring it felt to stand firm against darkness together. It wasn't just a win, it was the promise of unbroken trust and unconditional love, a bond that flourished against all odds, and as the first light of dawn broke through the windows, it illuminated their faces, a beautiful reminder of resilience. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss future stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now, so the algorithm knows you love this content. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this explosive ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who must see how this wild tale unfolds. Show your support for the channel. You're a true fan who understands what it takes to keep the magic alive.